Hello, this is Robert with Real Property Management, Indianapolis Metro. Today we're going to talk about the 7 mandatory steps, how to rent your home in record time. Obviously, your vacancy rate is a very important factor in cash flow and performance of any investment property, whether you're renting your personal residence or whether you're a full-time real estate investor. So, there are many different components that we utilize and break down to help us maximize the return on investment for all of our investors. And effectively, marketing and renting your home is one of those things. So the first thing to understand on effectively marketing and renting the home is pricing correctly. So number one, we have pricing. Now, why is pricing important? Well, first, if a home is underpriced, it affects the overall ability for your investment property to perform. If it's overpriced, then the market may not see it. That demographic may not be looking at $1,200 rentals in their area because nothing rents at $1,200 in that area. If it's overpriced, then the people who can't afford that may not be looking for that area. So you have to find that sweet spot. Now, some people will test the market. They will go in on the high side, beyond and above the market. The market says it's $1,000 to $1,250, depending on the size, the amenities, and so forth. But they'll put it on the market for $1,400, and they'll hope that maybe they can rent it for $1,300. And what they find out is there's no phone calls, there's no emails, there's no inquiries. When people call just from the sign marketing in the yard, as soon as you tell them $1,400, they say, "Oh, that's ridiculous. I'm looking for something different." And then they'll lower the price, and they end up renting the house a month later in something closer, if not exactly where the market should have been in the first place. The problem with that is if you miss a month of rent, well, that's a month's worth of income. If you would have priced it right the first time, instead of trying to get too much, not only would you not have missed a month, you're also losing that $200 price drop that you tried to get initially. So, secondly, there is a certain momentum that happens when a house hits the market. As soon as we broadcast and feed into the digital workplace and listings online, those listing services automatically alert people who have saved searches that meet your criteria. They're looking for this zip code. They're looking for a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom. They're looking for this price range. If you're not in that price range, if someone says, "I'm looking in your area for a 3-bedroom, 1 bath or more, 1,000 square feet at $900, and you come to the market at $1,000, they don't get the alert. Secondly, the longer that your home is on those listing services, most of those listing services, the default search is newest listings. For instance, if I go to Zillow and I punch in this zip code, 46224, the West Side of Indianapolis Speedway area, it's going to show me all the houses available for rent in 46224, starting with the newest property first. Now, Zillow doesn't do this. Rentals.com actually does have premier listings. That's something that we pay for. It's rather expensive. Property managers can do it because they rent in bulk. So those will show up as well in the saved search or in the searches. But the default is going to be newest listings that meet your criteria. So pricing is very important to be able to hit the market at the correct price that's going to allow your house to be shown and desirable and find the right person to put into that home. Secondly, we want to create desire or desirability for the home. If I can spell, we'll be in better shape. Desirability. Now, what's desirability mean? See, once again, I talked about that target tenant. That target tenant's the one that has choices. Many of you might be that kind of people. You walk into a house, and if it doesn't have that certain sparkle, if there's not that certain flow or ergonomic feel to the house, if you drive by and the yard is a mess full of debris, the bushes look like they haven't been trimmed in a year, and the yard's not being mowed, you're not interested in the property. we want those people who have the ability to choose, but we also have to have the most desirable choice for them. So how do we create desirability? First, we'll start from the outside to the inside. First is going to be curb appeal. Is the house landscaped? Are there bushes? Have they been trimmed? Are there decorative rocks, mulch? Now, I'm not a big fan of going out and spending $1,500 to landscape a yard that has never been landscaped. What I am a fan of is simple things like trimming the bushes, maybe laying mulch. The next thing is going to be how clean that front look is. We have, are the windows on the front of the house cleaned inside and outside? Has the patio been swept, or is it full of pine needles and leaves? Is any wood trim on your patio? Is it chipping, fading? How hard would it be to put a splash of paint on those and clean them up a little bit? Are there cobwebs and dust bunnies around the light fixtures? Are the doors around the handles clean? That's a very high traffic area. You'll find if you look at most entryway door handles, they're very dirty, dingy, and dusty. So we want to have that aesthetic appeal on the outside, that curb appeal. Next, we want to have the aesthetic appeal on the inside. When you first walk into a home, that first room needs to be immaculate. The floors need to be clean, whether it's hard surfaces or carpets. The walls need to be uniform. I prefer them to be freshly painted. The house needs to be clean. Any fixtures need to be clean. If you have light fixtures and they have bugs or dust in them, just take them down and clean them. Make sure that the blinds are not damaged and that they're clean, maybe even new. Vinyl blinds are not that expensive. If they look questionable, replace them. Put them maybe in a third bedroom. The next place is going to be your kitchens and bathrooms. Anybody in real estate can tell you that kitchens and bathrooms are what makes a home sell. It's what makes the buying decision. Make sure that the floors are cleaned, that the cabinets are cleaned inside and out, that the appliances are cleaned inside and out, that the walls, once again, are clean and uniform. Overall cleanliness is a huge factor. Once somebody walks into a home and they see particular things, it sets the tone for the entire walkthrough for the leasing person. If you walk in and there's a big spot on the carpet, instead of seeing the gorgeous fireplace at the end, you're going to see this spot on the carpet. And while you will see the fireplace, you now have a poor taste in your mouth. You'll go into the kitchen and realize that, well, the sink has water spots in it. Not a big deal usually, but once that tone is set and they look and they're like, looks like that knob on the cabinet's been replaced and really just doesn't look like it's quite in the right place it should be. And they begin to pick the home apart because of that first initial problem. And those are the people that we want. Odors. Obviously, you want to make sure that there's a pleasant smell and that there's no offensive smells. There's some psychology about smells and odors and the way that odors actually interact with memories. And you'll find that fresh paint, cleaning materials, things like that, they set a certain type of memory into the person that's seeing the home. So when you're showing the home, I'm a big fan of, taking some Febreze or Glade, putting stick-ups or some kind of airwick plug-in, whatever, to kind of keep the home fresh. These homes are sitting, they're locked up, there's no airflow. The windows are closed, the doors are closed, nobody's coming in and out. And no matter how clean or spectacular the house is, it's going to have a stale or musty smell. Paint is a great way. I'm a big advocate of paint, but if you're not painting, if it doesn't need paint, there's a couple other options. I've literally had people that open a can of paint and leave it in the house for a while just to get that paint odor. Secondly, there's, like I said, there's things you can stick on the walls, plug in the outlets, spray in the house to keep the odor pleasant and appealing. The last thing to create desirability is going to be competitive amenities. The appliances, the upgrades in the house. If you're in an area where every house has granite and your house has laminate countertops, it's not going to compete well. If every house has a dishwasher, microwave, and all you're providing is a refrigerator and a stove, it's not going to compete well. In Indianapolis, most rental homes have air conditioning, but if you're in an area where 2/3 of the house has central air and yours do not, it's not going to compete well. The people that you're going to have move into that house are going to be higher risk than the people that move into the house next door. Once again, we want to be able to provide things that are going to draw in the people who have the ability to choose. Third thing is going to be professionality. Now, this is a little bit trickier for people that are renting out their own residence. But there comes a certain type of credibility when you have a professional looking sign in the yard from a commercial entity. Something like our real property management signs, or any other property manager in town, a realtor sign. When you just have a sign that says for rent, 317, blah, 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 that's okay, but it doesn't look as professional. People like to know that the houses are going to get taken care of, that their needs are going to be met, that people are going to respond to them, that they're not going to be succumbing to some form of scam. There's a lot of scams out there. Craigslist especially is full of misleading scams. People that tell you, oh, I'm a missionary in Africa, I'll send you the keys if you wire me money. And people do this. It's amazing. When you're professional, you carry that credibility. So your yard signs should have a professional look. Your directionals in the area, if you can hang directionals, should have a professional look. Your photography, your video, they should have a professional look to them. A good property management company will have professional photography, professional video. They'll be able to put out directional signs, yard signs. They'll know what the local ordinances are to get those things done. Next is our digital marketing. We live in a world where so many things are found on the internet. And this next generation of people, next generation of renters, they find their spaces on social media, through internet listings. They don't just find things through signs or friends. If they find things through friends, once again, it still comes through social media. So the first thing is to be able to write a compelling marketing ad. I can't tell you how many times I see 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1,100 square feet, $900 a month, no pets. Call me. That's not very appealing. But when your marketing description says, wonderful home in the Butler-Tarkington area. This historic house has 1,200 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 bath. Enjoy the landscape in the backyard on the deck, grilling out with your friends, while you're just minutes away from the nearest shopping center. Call us today. Great rent at $900 a month. Get it now before it's gone. You check out our video at rpmindymetro.com or call our leasing agent here. And that's more compelling. It's more enticing. When people read that, then they want to know what it's about. When they see the professional photos versus, there's been some complaints that some of our photos look better than the house does. And the funny part is, people aren't going to go see the house if the photos look horrible. So, while I don't want to be misleading, at the same time you do want photos that are at the perfect time of day with the sunrise or sunset in the background. Photos that get the best lighting in a room when a window comes through, or that we get a wide angle on a certain type of room to be able to capture certain amenities. Now, as far as the listing services, this is something that has revolutionized most industries. It used to be homes are rented by signage, homes are rented by renters or by realtors using the multiple listing service. In Indianapolis, it's MyBoard. Nowadays, anybody can post a rent to Zillow, Trulia, HotPads, all these listing services. And there's about 4 that are very vital. And then you have your free classifieds like Craigslist. So you want to make sure you maintain professionality because anybody can do these. And it's easy to succumb to a scam. Let people know that they can trust you, that you're credible. But get your listings on all the major listing services. Zillow, Rentals.com, Trulia, HotPads, Craigslist. Now, secondly, social media is becoming a very big thing. These younger people don't even watch the news. Most of their news comes across social media channels. Twitter, Facebook. They are sending information via Instagram, Pinterest, Google+. There's so many opportunities for people to share information. A good property manager is going to have a social media campaign already built to where their listings are on all their social media footprints. Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. If you have videos, you need to have an active YouTube channel. So once the social media goes out, the next thing that's going to happen, and this is one of the hardest things to do, is actually leasing the house. So next thing we're going to do is to begin the leasing process. And we do that by responding to inquiries. Now, this is the most trying part. I have literally had homes that get 20, 30, 40 phone calls and emails a day. If you do not respond to people, I can't tell you how many times I had prospects tell me, I'm so glad you called me back, or I'm so glad you answered the phone. Nobody else is answering the phone. Nobody else is responding to my emails. Nobody else is calling me back from my voicemails. Especially at certain times of the season where it's very busy and everybody is overwhelmed. Being able to respond to those inquiries in a timely manner is huge. Now, the problem is it's difficult to show a house 30 or 40 times when everybody has different schedules. You know, you're at your convenience, at their convenience. I don't get off work till 5. I have to see it before 1. I'm not going to be available until Tuesday. So you want to be able to pre-screen those people as soon as possible. You want to give them details about the house. You want to create that desire just right there on the phone initially or over an email. But you need to pre-screen them. Let them know what it takes to be qualified for this house. We're looking for this level of income. We're looking for people that pay their bills, and we do pull credit reports. You know, we do not place tenants that have recent criminal history or any criminal history. This is not a pet-friendly home. We do not accept Section 8. Find out in advance. Last thing you want to do is drive out to the rental property to show the property to someone who thinks you accept Section 8. And you just wasted your gas, your time, their time, when they could have been screened out initially. You also find that there's a lot of getting stood up in this industry in leasing. That's the most frustrating thing. People will say, well, I'm not going to be available till tomorrow, 1 o'clock, and you go out there, and they're not there. You may even call them beforehand. Oh, I'll be there, and they don't show up. Maybe you'll follow up with them later. Oh, I found something else. They didn't think to call. So it becomes very time consuming. So being able to pre-screen, get people committed in a timely manner is vital to being able to lease properly. You know, you want to respond to the inquiries in a timely manner, be professional, entice these people, but also screen them appropriately and be available, be flexible when they are. And that comes down to this. 6, showing the home. Showing the home. Now, flexibility is probably the first step to that. As I said, people have different schedules. It needs to be done at their convenience. If you are not working around the convenience of your prospects, you're missing out on your opportunities to get these homes leased in a timely manner. Now, besides being flexible, the other things you can do is you want to prepare the home. When you walk into the house, you want to get there 15, 20 minutes early. You want to walk through, you want to open the blinds, open them enough to let light in. Turn on all the lights. Bring a small broom, maybe a small mop, and sweep the floors. If there's any dust, any debris, anything like that, pick it up. Keep a little trash bag in your car to pick up debris that may have blown into the yard, a little McDonald's bag, styrofoam cup, who knows? And we've seen it all. Then when you go through the house, have a little Lysol wipes with you. Once again, remember the olfactory, the odor, having that little cleaning smell, that fresh bleach, that fresh cleaner, it sets off the tone of, oh, what a nice clean home. So if the counters or the cabinets have a little dust, wipe them down. Being able to create a presentable product is vital to you successfully leasing this house. And the last thing, as I said, we call it our sparkle bucket here. But in your sparkle bucket, you need a little can of Glade or Febreze. Now the last one is encouraging the application process. Encouraging applicants. So, somebody walks in, you think they like the house. They don't say much. You've tried to hit their hot buttons. Oh, I love houses with decks. Well, this house has a beautiful deck. Let's go take a look at it. Can't you see yourself here sitting on the deck in the summer, maybe grilling brats out in the backyard while the kids are playing? So you're trying to create an experience, but if you do not engage them to take the next step, if if you don't call them to action, say, it's obvious that you like this house. Our homes do not last long. We are consistently one of the fastest renting companies in the area. And if you don't take advantage of this today, it may not be here tomorrow. Let's go ahead and get this application started. You can even start it right there. When I was trained, they said, pull out the application and say, okay, your name is so-and-so, correct? Yes. What's your address? And start filling out that application. Just start asking them questions. And then when you're finished, say, okay, sign here. Here's the application fee. Put the pen in their hand. And these are old sales techniques, and nobody likes to feel salesy, but some people have to be led into taking action. They may not take action on their own. So you have to encourage the application process. So our 7 steps to effective leasing your home in record times. First is determining the proper price. Creating a desirable product. Is it clean? Does it have the proper amenities? Is it appealing inside and outside? Having a professional look. Do you have professional signs? Don't show up in a tank top and ripped jeans and sandals, looking like you just finished working on a car. Show up looking nice. Understanding the digital marketplace. Being able to put your homes on those listing services. Being able to use those effectively. Being able to utilize social media if possible. Leasing and responding to inquiries. Once it starts, it's easy to get overwhelmed. And if you do not respond to people in a timely manner, they're looking. And they have to be somewhere in the next 30 days, the next 15 days. So they have a sense of urgency already. They're looking for something specific, but they may have to settle for the person who answers the phone. Showing the home. Make sure that you arrive early, that you create a presentable atmosphere, that you walk them through, and that you point out every individual amenity in the home. And then encouraging the application process and following up with the prospects. Obviously, if you don't have that call to action, if you don't have that, we need to get you in this house today before it's gone. They may just say, well, let me think about it. And they go and they see 3 or 4 more homes. And when they call back in 4 days or so, the home may not be available. Or somebody else might have pushed them to choose this home, to take this application process, and you've lost them because somebody else called them to action. So if you follow these 7 steps, you'll find out that your homes will lease more quickly. We consistently beat the days on the market of most of the competitors in town by as much as 2 weeks. There are very many markets in town where it's common to see houses sit for 40 and 60 days. And we have a house in there in 2-3 weeks, it's off the market. We've got somebody moving in. And we're moving on to the next phase. So be able to be diligent, work every one of these steps properly, and you'll see success in leasing your rental property. Thank you very much. This is Robert with Real Property Management, Indianapolis Metro. And Real Property Management is the trusted leader in property management and leasing nationwide.